Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Herp number 8. I apologize, we did miss last week. The winter storm did hit rather hard, so I was busy to that. In fact, we did power on Monday. But regardless, here we are. We have another Herp for you today. We've got a incredible one. I have caught one of these. It looks fantastic. Scary. This thing is a walking dinosaur. Today we are talking about the alligator snapping turtle. Alligator snapping turtle, or scientific name Macrocheles kaminkii, I think. It's hard for me to say. Kaminkii. There we go. It is part of the family Chelydridae, which is the snapping turtle. There's only 2 extant genera in this family. The alligator snapping turtle. Well, let me rephrase that. There's only 2 genuses. There's more than 1 species now. And what I mean by that, the alligator snapping turtle was forever thought to be 1 species. However, it has come out in recent years that there's now at least 2 different species of alligator snapping turtle, possibly 3. The other snapping turtle is called the Suwannee snapping turtle. That is a definite different species. And then there's a proposed Apalachicola snapping turtle that may or may not become a species. So there's at least 2, possibly 3. These are found primarily in the waters of southeastern United States. So think Florida Panhandle, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, Kansas, East Texas. Now there are some established in population in South Africa. Found some research or some accounts of them popping up in European countries where they are considered invasive as well, because these things are very, very good predator. As you can tell from the picture, it has a very, very large, heavy head, and that's part of how it got its name, actually. Look at this picture. It kind of looks similar to an alligator in a way. It's very, very large head. It has these that down the back of the shell, 3. It's often covered in algae, but that big head is where it gets it. And also, has this incredible bite force. When you have a head that big, it's a big bite force. Now there are numerous conflicting opinions on the bite force. Some say that they can only do 1,730 Newton, which is 176 kilograms or 388 pounds of force. I've seen significantly less, like very little force, like these things actually don't bite that hard. But the pressure, because of that very, very sharp beak, it can actually exert a lot of pressure. The consensus seems to be that they can exhibit about 1,000 pounds per square inch pressure. So that's why they can bite. So these things can bite very, very hard. They can snap a broom handle, PVC. They can definitely take a finger. And one of the reasons why they can get into that is why they is their diet, which we'll get into. Now, something that I probably should have said a long time. The back part of the shell, so the shell along the back, called the carapace, but the belly part of the shell, when you flip a turtle over, it's got some shell here. That is called plastron. And in an alligator snapping turtle, the plastron is actually very, very small. So you can think of a very big one, and this would be the size of plastron. Very, very small. Really only covered. Predominantly, these are going to be solid in color, either black, green, dark green, your dark, swampy looking color. and they're gonna have a bunch of these little tendrils coming off, especially around the eye, things like that, kind of giving it the look that it's always covered in. It really helps when they're obviously covered in algae. Covered in algae, they definitely like a mossy rock. It is one of the heaviest freshwater turtles in the world. It is definitely the largest freshwater turtle in North America, hands down. Now, it's not verified, but there was a alligator snapping turtle that was measured that weighed 183 kilograms or 403 pounds. That one was found in Kansas in 1997. However, that is not verified. The largest verifiable one is actually debatable. However, both of them were around 110 kilograms, which is about 240 pounds. I'm just giving you a range. So these things can get significantly massive. I personally have caught one that was about 110 pounds, which is above the normal, but, well, I shouldn't say above normal. These things vary range. I will show you a picture. But most alligator snapping turtles are going to range in carapace length, so remember that back part of the shell. Most of those are going to range between 35 to 81 centimeters, about 14 to 32. So you can think of just over a foot to about 30 just in the carapace. And they're going to weigh 8.5 to 80 kilograms. As you can see, they have a huge range. At 8.5, that's about 19 pounds up to about 176. You've got everything from about that big to that big. They very, very range. The consensus did seem to be that the males were actually larger than females. There's some debate on that. I do think it is the males, though, that seem to be the consensus. However, it is definite that the males have a thicker base of the tail. And the reason for that is their hidden reproductive organ. So when they're not in the act of reproducing, the reproductive organs of the male are basically inside the base of the tail. Now, something about these is that, and it's true, I believe, of all turtles, or at least most of them, when they are in the eggs, they have temperature-dependent sex determination, meaning depending on the temperature is going to determine the ratio of males to females. So I think with the alligator snapping turtle, the warmer it is, the more males you up to a certain point. In captivity, it typically lives between 20 and 70 years old, so there is a big range on that. Some people say that they can get up to 200 years old. It's probably closer to the 50s. People want to say that turtles live forever. I think these are, most of the time, they're shutting down around 50 to 100 years. That would be your old. They can get up to 200. Yeah, they probably can. It's hard to verify this. Now, something interesting about this is that these turtles have a worm-shaped appendage. We actually have a video for y'all. I'm going to throw on my headphones so that we can watch this. This is a video of an alligator snapping turtle's tongue lure. A tongue lure. This is done by Ryan M. Bolton. I encourage you to check out his video on this. Has a bunch of good videos, actually. So he's got some production, the art of conservation. But alligator snapping turtles can hold their breath for about 15 minutes. So it sits there and its mouth can open up very, very, very. It sits there and the inside of its mouth is camouflaged to look like baseline. You can see there it wiggles its mouth like a worm. And that's what it's doing. It's vermiculation, I think is what it's called. No, vermiculation is a pattern of color. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But it sits there and attracts a worm or attracts fish and things with that sort of firm. And so that kind of gets into a fun fact that I like to end. These things can eat everything. They will eat everything. They eat a lot of fish. They eat a lot of, crustaceans, amphibians. They'll eat basically anything like that. But as they get bigger, one of the things that these things like to eat, and you remember that bite force, 1,000 pounds per square inch. And why would this animal have such a, why does it have that very sharp beak? And think about it, why would it have that unless it needs to bite through? That leads into what, as it gets older, what its predominant prey is. And there is some debate, obviously, but does seem to show that 77% of a alligator snapping turtle's diet, once it gets inside, shifts to becoming other turtles. So it's using that to get those turtles close and then snap and bite through the turtle shell. It does, so that's why they have such a large bite force, why they can do that. Now I'm going to end this by showing you the picture of me with the biggest one that I personally seen. Bam. There you go. This is an alligator snapping turtle that was caught at Caddo Lake in East Texas. As you can see, it's got this big head covered in algae. It doesn't have quite the pronounced ridges. That's also because we're not, it might be older. It's not the best camera. This was a while ago. Thing is getting old now. But here's a good picture of an alligator snapping turtle. And our nearest guess that this weighed somewhere between 8. It measured about the 30 inches or so. It was heavy. And I want to make it very clear, people, when you are picking up alligator snapping turtle, which I would like no one to pick up an alligator snapping turtle unless you know what you're doing. These things can be incredibly dangerous. Their neck can reach very, very way. When you do, grab it just like that and keep it pointed away from you. You grab it right behind the head, you kind of lean it away, and then you hold right over the base of the tail. That's the safest way for both you and the turtle to. But please do not do it unless you know what you're doing. They can bite through your arm, no question. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Listen, guys, I hope you're doing well from the winter storm. Please take care of yourself once again. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones.